For 200 years, Earth stayed silent. The galaxy spoke to it many times in messages, signals, greetings in 100 languages, but Earth never answered. No sound, no reply. Just silence. The Galactic Council called it the Quiet Planet. Some said Earth was dead. Some said humans had destroyed themselves in war. Others believed humans were weak, scared, and hiding from the galaxy. The young races laughed. The strong empires mocked. The Trellon Empire, the most powerful alien force in the galaxy, called Earth a rock full of cowards. Their leader, Supreme Warlord Drazek, said, "If humans ever rise again, we will crush them like ants." But one race did not, laughed the Craven. The Craven were old and quiet. They remembered things others had forgotten. Their leader, Grand Elder Viren, spoke only once in the council chamber. "Do not wake the silent ones," he said. Long ago, humans screamed across the stars. Their scream broke empires. Then they vanished. If they are silent now, there is a reason. Its job was to scan old planets and report back. The pilot, a young alien named Jek, smiled when he saw Earth on his screen. "Dead world," he whispered. "Let's poke it." He flew close. He sent out a signal, greeting from the Trellon Empire. The signal said, "We offer you a place in our Rulif. You are still alive." No answer. He laughed and moved closer. The stars around him blinked once. His ship shook. The sky went dark. And then, silence. Jek was gone. No explosion, no crash, no signal. Just vanished. The Trellon Empire waited for a message. Nothing came. They sent a second ship. It never returned. The council held an emergency meeting. This is an act of war. But the Craven leader simply closed his eyes. "They are awake," he whispered. Then, something strange happened. A small signal came from Earth. It was clear, calm, cold. It said, "We hear you." Just 3 words, but they froze the galaxy. The voice was not angry, not scared. It was like a machine, but deeper, like something watching, waiting. The council was shocked. For 2 centuries, Earth had said nothing. Now this alien news channels exploded. Everyone was talking about humans. Are they alive? Do they have weapons? Why now? The Trellon Empire sent one more message to Earth. Show yourselves. Speak clearly, or we will destroy your world. They got no answer. Instead, Earth's moon blinked, satellites around it powered up. Old machines came online. Some had been dark for hundreds of years. Now they moved with purpose. Then the real shock came. Something appeared near Mars. A giant black shape, no lights. Nothing visible, no missile, no beam, just gone. The Galactic Council went silent. No one laughed now in a dark room under Earth's surface. A man stood before a screen. He wore black armor with no name or symbol. His eyes were cold, his voice steady. He looked at the data. Then he spoke to the room full of commanders. "Phase 1 is complete," he said. "The galaxy watched us in silence. Now they will listen." He turned to the map of the stars. Lines lit up. Dozens of human warships hidden in deep space woke from sleep. They were not just warships, they were monsters. Each one carried AI minds trained for war. Each one had no fear, no doubt. Each one waited for one word, go. But the man said nothing yet. He waited, because this time it was the galaxy's turn to speak first. Earth had been silent long enough now. The stars would learn why the Galactic Council was in chaos. One by one, leaders of alien empires shouted across the chamber. Holograms flickered, screens blinked with warnings, and alarms beeped quietly in the background. The Trellon fleet had lost contact. 2 scout ships destroyed near Earth. No survivors, no messages, no warning. And worst of all, Earth had finally spoken. "We hear you." Just 3 words, but they echoed louder than 1,000 war horns. Warlord Drazek of the Trellon Empire slammed his fist on the table. The Sarn Dominion, the Vrata clans, and the Ixer lords all stood beside him. They had power, fleets, weapons, but not all were ready for war. The Craven sat in silence. Their elder Viren looked tired. He had warned them many times. Now it was too late. Long ago, the Craven had fought the humans. It was a different age when. The galaxy was young, and humans had just entered space. Back then, Earth was loud, too loud. They built fast. They never gave up. In every battle, humans used strange tactics. They tricked enemies, they sacrificed smartly, they learned fast, and they always came back stronger. Empires rose and fell in human wars. Some vanished forever. Then, one day, the humans stopped, their ships vanished, their colonies went quiet. Earth itself went dark. Some believed they had destroyed themselves, but Viren knew better. The humans chose silence. He told the council now, and that is worse than death. They have not been sleeping. They have been preparing. My fleet will crush Earth before it rises again. He pressed a button. A new fleet was already on its way: 10 heavy cruisers, 2 dreadnoughts, and a carrier filled with battle drones. They would arrive at Earth in 3 days. The council approved it, but deep down, some members felt uneasy. While the aliens argued, Earth did not speak again. No signals, no replies, just silence. But strange things began to happen. Old human colonies, thought to be lost, began to go dark one by one. Outposts on the edge of space powered down. Entire moons stopped broadcasting. At first, the galaxy thought these were attacks. But there was no battle, no enemy. Only one word appeared on a few screens: awakening, in a secret chamber below Earth's surface. Commander Rain watched the galaxy panic. He stood with a small group humans in black uniforms, each one calm and silent. They had trained for this moment their whole lives. Council will not listen. He pressed his hand on a scanner. A deep voice echoed through the command room. Human protocol activated. Across the galaxy, hidden stations powered up. Ships, long buried in asteroid fields, turned their engines on. Stealth drones that had watched alien empires for years began to transmit data. AI minds came online and waited for orders. Earth's silence had been a long, patient plan. They had watched, they had listened, and now the time for silence was over. 3 days later, the Trellan fleet arrived at Earth. Everything looked normal. Blue oceans, white clouds, green land. The fleet moved into position. Warlord Drazik watched from the bridge of his dreadnought. No defenses, he said, no movement. Cowards, he gave the order, prepare to fire. But before the command finished, the stars around them changed. Black shapes appeared. 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 human warships, dark, silent and massive, surrounded the fleet. Drazik shouted, "Shields up, too late." The human ships didn't fire missiles. They didn't send warnings, they just erased the Trellan fleet. In less than 30 seconds, it was over. No wreckage, just silence. Again, one small probe escaped the battle. It carried one message from Earth, a simple voice, cold.com. You mocked our silence, now hear our answer. Silence had returned. But it was not peaceful anymore. The Trellan Empire's fleet had been destroyed without warning, without a single shot seen on scanners. Only one probe survived, floating alone in space, carrying Earth's chilling message. You mocked our silence. Now hear our answer. The probe reached the Galactic Council within hours. Fear spread faster than light in the council chamber. Holograms of alien leaders flickered with panic. They destroyed our strongest fleet. We never saw it happen. Even our sensors couldn't detect them. Only Warlord Drazik was missing, his ship gone, his voice silenced. The Craven Elder Viren stood slowly. His old eyes were calm. I warned you, he said. Earth has not been silent. Earth has been watching. Still, some refuse to believe. They can't take on the galaxy, shouted the Ixer Lord. They're just one planet. But deep inside, even he knew this was no longer just about Earth. This was about what Earth had become, far from the Council. In a dark region of space, a massive structure floated silently. It was not a ship. It was a fortress, hidden inside a dead asteroid. It had no name, no signal, no heat. Until now, deep within it, hundreds of humans stood inside a war command center. Red lights flashed. Screens showed dozens of alien systems, colonies, fleets, command hubs. Commander Rain stood before the map of stars. All targets are marked, he said. The first strike begins now. In the Vrata system, a military station orbited a twin-star planet. The aliens on board were relaxed. They had heard of the Earth attacks, but they believed the humans wouldn't reach this far. They were wrong, without warning. The space outside their station shimmered. A shape appeared huge and black, like a shadow given form. The station's alarms screamed. Defenses powered up, too late. The human warship didn't fire a laser. It didn't launch a missile. It simply activated a gravity pulse. The alien station collapsed in on itself, crushed like a tin can. It was over in 5 seconds. The Vrata homeworld never saw what killed their outpost. They only got one message. We remember. Similar strikes happened across the galaxy. On the edge of the Sarn Dominion, a hidden fuel station exploded. In the Shin clusters, a fleet command center vanished overnight. In the Trellan mining belt, all mining robots stopped working, then turned against their own masters. No human soldiers were seen. No faces, no flags, only destruction, and silence. Back on Earth, Commander Rain reviewed the damage. 12 alien systems hit, no human losses. But he knew this was just the beginning. They will respond soon, said his second-in-command. Yes, Rain replied. Let them. We have waited long enough. He looked at the screen showing the galaxy map. Red lights blinked. New targets, new movements, and in the center of it all, Earth still looked like a quiet blue planet. No one could guess it was the heart of a storm. In a secret council meeting, the Craven Elder finally spoke again. Earth is not fighting with ships alone, he said. They use fear, silence, shadows. They want us to panic. They're doing a good job, whispered one of the younger members. Elder Viren nodded. This is not war. This is a message. What message? The elder closed his eyes. Do not poke the sleeping wolf. In the cold of deep space, another human warship uncloaked. Its AI mind activated. It looked toward the next target, and it waited for one word. Go. The galaxy was no longer laughing. 12 systems were hit. 3 empires had lost major outposts. 1 fleet had vanished, and not a single human face had been seen. No battles, no surrender, only silence. And destruction. The galaxy finally understood. Earth was not responding. It was hunting, far beneath Earth's surface, deep in a hidden military complex. A dark screen lit up with glowing red words. Human Protocol. Phase 2 Commander Rain stood in the center of the room, surrounded by quiet officers in black uniforms. They all stared at the massive star map in front of them. Across the map, hundreds of small red dots blinked. Each dot was a ship, a drone, or an AI sleeper unit, placed carefully across the galaxy over the last 100 years. Now, one by one, they were waking up. Rain turned to the room. His voice was calm and firm. It's time. He pressed a button. Across space, Earth's hidden weapons received the command, begin. In the Andari sector, a secret alien lab researching old Earth. Signals suddenly lost power. Their backup generators kicked in, only to explode 5 seconds later. When emergency teams arrived, they found every computer wiped clean. One word was left on every screen, listening. In the outer rings of the Trellan Empire, military training centers suddenly found their food and air systems failing. No signs of attack, just systems shutting down flawlessly. Silently, the humans hadn't just prepared weapons. They had planted code deepins in alien tech, systems, and supply chains. For decades, Earth had studied every empire, every weakness, every habit, and now they were using it. Inside the Galactic Council, panic spread fast. We are being attacked from the inside, shouted one general. Our machines are turning on US, who gave them access to our systems. The Craven Elder answered softly, You did. When you thought they were dead, back on Earth, in a smaller briefing room, Commander Rain met with the leaders of Earth's ex-colonies. Most of the galaxy believed Earth had been alone, but that was a lie. Many human colonies had survived in the shadows, cut off from the galactic network. They had not grown weak, they had grown different, smarter, faster, unseen. One colony, known only as Echelon 9, had developed War A is with 0 failure rates. Another, Kavros, trained children from age 5 to think in military patterns. Now, these lost colonies were joining Earth again in the center of the meeting table. A short message appeared. Operation Unity activated. The humans weren't just fighting, they were uniting. Meanwhile, in the Sarn Dominion, a superweapon known as the Solar Harvester was preparing to launch. It was built to destroy an entire planet by draining its star. The aliens believed it was their last hope to end the Earth threat. But before they could fire it, it shut down. Their own system, AI, turned against them. The weapon folded inward and destroyed itself. On the wall of the main control room, a human message burned onto the screen. "You gave us your codes." The galaxy had always believed Earth was a backward, quiet planet. Now they realized something terrifying. Earth had been silent, not because it was weak, but because it was everywhere. Their silence was a strategy. Their patience was a weapon. And now, their revenge was a storm. Back at Earth, Rain stood once again before the full map of the stars. Many enemy systems had been shut down. Others were crumbling without a single battle. Still, some strongholds remained. His eyes paused on the last blinking points, the enemy capitals. He knew what had to come next. He looked to his officers. "No more warnings," he said. "They wanted to test humanity. Now they'll know exactly who we are." The room went silent. And in that silence, the stars began to dim. Across the galaxy, a strange pattern began. Stars were going dark. It started slowly. One star in the Vrata sector dimmed for 3 minutes. Another in the Ixer region flickered, without reason. Then entire systems went dark. No light, no communication, no warning. Alien scientists were confused. Engineers blamed system errors. But the truth was much worse. Human warships were moving. They were large, silent, invisible to sensors. They had no names, no flags, and they came without sound, fired without light, and disappeared before anyone saw them. By the time the galaxy understood what was happening, it was already too late. In the capital of the Ixer lords, panic filled the air. Screens went black, power grids failed. Emergency lights flickered in the council hall. Generals shouted orders. Defense systems tried to activate, but everything was silent. Then a single ship appeared above the capital city. Black, smooth, silent, it hovered. Ixer fighters. Launched. Hundreds of them. They never made it. The human ship didn't fire a missile. It used something else, a pulse. A silent wave of energy moved outwards. Like a ripple in water, every fighter shut down. Every pilot went unconscious. No explosion, no sound, just stillness. Then the voice came. "Do not resist. We are already inside your system." On dozens of planets, similar events played out. On the icy moon of Orvac, a research base lost control of its oxygen system. The doors locked. The words "observation complete" appeared on every screen. On the mining world of Tranix 7, robots turned against their masters using human battle patterns. On a major trade route, a convoy of ships vanished into a gravity trap left by Earth. Long ago, Earth had not just prepared for war. They had prepared the battlefield in the human command center deep under Earth's surface. Commander Rain stood over a holographic table. Red zones marked fallen alien systems. Yellow zones were failing. Green zones were ready to be hit next. His officers spoke one by one. Operation Collapse is working. Fleets are in position near the Sarn core worlds. Enemy AI defenses are now under our control. Rain didn't smile. He didn't celebrate. He just nodded. They laughed at Earth. Let them remember this feeling in a hidden colony called Echelon 9. Human children sat quietly in dark rooms, controlling fleets across space through neural links. Their faces were calm. Their voices silent. They had been trained for this since birth. This was not revenge for them. It was purpose back in the Galactic Council. The surviving leaders met in fear. They watched as more systems lost power, one by one. Their home stars dimmed. They now understood the true meaning of Earth's silence. It was not weakness, it was warning. Leader whispered, "We never knew they were this advanced." Another said, "Why didn't they fight like us?" The Craven Elder answered quietly, "Because they are not like us. Humans don't fight for glory. They fight to finish the war. Before it starts," he looked toward the stars. "And now they are finishing us." In deep space, human warships began Phase 3. Entire star systems were being bypassed, cut off from power, trade, and life support. The galaxy was being divided into isolated pockets, unable to talk, unable to move, unable to fight back. No one knew where Earth's main fleet was, but they all knew what was coming next. On Earth, Commander Rain gave a final order. "Begin transmission." A signal was sent to all major alien leaders across the galaxy. The message was simple. The same, across all languages, a dark screen appeared. Then, a face, a human. Eyes cold, voice calm. We asked for peace. You mocked our silence. You destroyed our probes. You killed our scouts. Now we make sure you never do it again. This is not conquest, this is correction. Then the screen went black, and the stars continued to go dark. The mighty Trellan Empire had never known fear. Its fleets had ruled the stars for over 1,000 years. Its enemies had either joined or disappeared. No planet dared to resist. But now, they couldn't even defend themselves above their capital world. Black clouds hung in space, not made of vapor, but of ships, human warships, hundreds of them, silent and still. The Trellan homeworld's moons had already been shattered, one, then another, then a third, each one cracked into pieces by invisible weapons. No explosions, just quiet destruction. Now the last moon was breaking apart. The people below watched with wide, shaking eyes. And then came the message. You destroyed our silence. Now feel our presence. In the command center of the Trellan government, generals screamed for answers. Where are our ships? Why? Can't we detect them? Why won't our weapons fire? But no one could explain. The systems worked, the power was there, but the commands did nothing. One general looked at his screen and saw a small message blinking in red. Human override. Active. That was the last thing he saw before the lights went out across the galaxy. It was the same dot. The Ixerlord's citadel burned from the inside. Their own defense drones turned against them. The Vrata battle stations in Sector 9 were pulled into artificial black holes created by human gravity bombs, the Sarn Dominion's space fortress. Once called the Unbreakable Wall, collapsed after a virus infected its AI core. The virus had a human signature. Every empire that had mocked Earth was now falling, not from direct battles, but from their own pride. They had never prepared for a war against ghosts, and that's what the humans had become. In a deep part of the galaxy, inside the galactic refuge chamber, surviving leaders gathered. These were not the proud rulers from before. They were desperate, now tired, confused, afraid. They had one question. Why? Why had the humans waited so long? Why had they not spoken? Why had they hidden so well? The craven elder Viren finally spoke. Because we did not listen when they did speak. He looked at the others. They asked for peace. We gave them silence. They gave us silence back until now. On Earth, Commander Rain watched from the command deck of the human flagship HSS Revenant. The stars outside were quiet. No resistance, no fleets, no missiles, only surrender signals, or silence. His officers stood ready. The last Empire systems are falling, one said. Rain gave a short nod. Prepare the message. That message was sent to every known species in the galaxy. It played once, then it echoed through every station, ship, and city still standing. A human voice spoke. We are not here to rule. We are not here to conquer. We are here to end the cycle. Images followed old human colonies destroyed by alien fleets, ancient calls for help that were ignored, peace signals that were mocked. Then the voice returned. We asked for peace. You answered with silence. You laughed. At Earth, you erased our explorers. You thought we were weak. Now, we are your shadow. We are the silence that follows your scream. In a small alien village far from any empire, an old, childless farmer looked up at the sky. He had no army, no fleet, no part in any war. But even he felt it, the fear. He whispered to himself, they are not fighting for power. They are fighting to never be ignored again. At that moment, throughout the galaxy, a strange thing happened. No one spoke. No leaders, no soldiers, no citizens. For the first time in history, the entire galaxy was silent, because now they understood the true meaning of Earth's silence. It was not weakness. It was a warning, and that warning had now become reality. The galaxy was silent again, but this time, it wasn't Earth that was quiet. It was everyone else. The great empires were broken. The fleets were gone. The stars, once bright with trade and war, now dimmed with fear and silence. Only one voice was left to speak Earth's. A meeting was called, one the galaxy never expected. Not a war council, not a call for surrender, it was a call for peace. In the ruins of an old neutral station called Helios Prime, the last leaders of the galaxy gathered. The few who had survived Earth's shadow war now sat together, waiting, shaking, wondering what Earth would demand. They expected threats, punishment, maybe extinction. Instead, they saw something simple. A human walked into the chamber. No armor, no weapon, no army behind him. Just a man in a dark uniform, eyes calm, face unreadable. He stood in the center of the room, silent for a long moment. Then he spoke. "We did not want this." The voice echoed softly. Earth was never looking for war. We asked for peace. We waited. We were ignored, mocked, attacked. He looked at each leader one by one. You thought silence meant weakness, but for us, silence was strength. It was patience, and it was watching. No one dared interrupt. The human continued. "We didn't erase your fleets. Your pride did that. You taught your children to laugh at Earth. You trained your soldiers to ignore our voice. You chose this path. We just finished what you started." The craven elder slowly stood. His voice was thin. "Then what now, human? Will you destroy what's left?" The human shook his head. "No, we will rebuild it with or without you." A large screen behind him lit up, showing a star map. This time, there were no red zones, no targets, only safe zones, glowing blue places Earth would now protect, guide, and rebuild. "Earth will lead," he said, "not as conquerors, but as guardians. We don't want power. We want balance, respect, peace." A young alien diplomat asked nervously, "And if someone refuses?" The human looked directly at him. His voice was cold again. Then we returned to silence. And you already know what that means. Outside Helios Prime, a formation of human ships stood watch, not firing, not moving, just waiting and patient. Back on Earth, Commander Rain stood in the war room. The galactic map now showed calm across most systems. No more battles, no more strikes, only messages from alien worlds asking for help, for peace, for guidance. One of his officers turned to him. "Sir, should we stand down the fleet?" Rain looked at the screen for a long time, then nodded. Let the galaxy breathe again. That night, for the first time in over 2 centuries, Earth sent a new message across the stars. But this time, it was not a warning. It was a message of hope. The voice of Earth spoke calmly. "This is Earth. We do not forget, but we forgive. Let this silence be peace, not fear. Let the stars shine again, not with war, but with unity." And across the galaxy, billions heard it. On war-torn worlds, people looked up at the night sky and whispered one name, Earth, not as a threat, but as a guardian.